Hello, amazing, beautiful people. Here I am in the metropolis of Palmerston North. And today I just want to talk a little bit. It's actually been interesting being away. We're going to talk about relational intelligence because that's what this whole series is about. It really is about navigating the best out of life. But it's interesting. So I'm away and with different people. And often, we ask, how is it with you? But how often do we ask that question and really mean it? Not just for the person in front of us, but also for ourselves. How often do we pause and check in? Are we actually really okay? Where are we at? Healthy relational intelligence starts with us from a place of love, of peace, of joy, of patience and kindness. It doesn't start from unhelpful stuff. So while I'm away, it has been an absolute delight to meet new people and hear different perspectives. I've had many conversations around health and well-being, because that's obviously my gig. I love it, about how we feel and whether we are reacting out of pain or responding out of love. And that's been key. A lot of conversations, just listening to when people are hurt or they're angry or whatever it might be. Many of us have been hurt by someone or something, whether it's a parent who we feel that has let us down, or maybe that parent's been absent from our lives, or a boss who you feel hasn't honored or respected you, or maybe life just hasn't gone the way that you expected. All of this stuff doesn't fit. It sort of puts us out of alignment. It puts us in uncomfortable spaces. And as human beings, we absolutely will do anything to avoid pain. It really is a factor. But no one said that we would have life without resistance. Actually, we need that resistance. Otherwise, we'd never move and we wouldn't grow and learn. So this week, I've had the honor of helping a beautiful young girl just on the sidelines having a chat, reframe her feelings of fear and anxiety and that dreadful, awful performance culture that stems, in her case, from an abusive upbringing. It's left her and her sister on a treadmill of having to prove their value and worth, often looking for a rescuer and every time finding a persecutor instead. This is such a common, unhelpful cycle, and it spirals down and becomes more and more intense as time goes by if it's left unresolved. So it was a real joy for me to shine the light and share an inspiring perspective to help flip the switch and turn her head in the different direction, to help her see a different perspective, to look through another lens. The reality is that hurt people, that healed people heal people. It starts with ourselves and our thoughts. I love the fact that if we don't like a thought, we get to choose another one. How cool is that? Because the battle is never with each other, it's always upstairs in our heads. I'm really aware that many of our struggles are because the world and people around us don't respond the way we expect them to. Unsurprisingly, really, as each and every one of us is uniquely designed to be brilliant and to do something that no one else can do. We all have our own flavor. Even within families, our experiences can be so different. Mine and my brother, I love him dearly, but we're very different. Our experiences have been different. I watch my children, very different. Their hearts are similar places, but what they're doing in their experiences are different. I believe we've been pre-programmed for love, that we are actually created for love and connection, for goodness, for kindness. Our hearts jump for joy when we function in this space, when we're looking for opportunities to be generous, to bless others, and being open to receiving the blessing when it comes your way too. It breaks my heart when I see or hear people arguing or dumping their pain on others. We're not designed to hold on to pain. And therefore, when things don't go our way or how we expect, when people don't react the way we think they should, we often take offense. And I mentioned it before, a fence for me is like a physical fence. We shut ourselves in and we forget to look for the gate. And the fence is actually, holding us back in. It's the parameters we put in. So we get stuck in a paddock because it's fenced, and that paddock's our heads. And we think there's no way out because we're head down in front of us, instead of going, actually, I'm going to look up and have a look that, where's the gate? So we think our relationships are always going to be this way. I'm going to be in this paddock, eating this grass, doing this stuff the rest of my life. Seriously, look up. And yet when we pause and look up to see what it's really about, we get to find the gate. In my case, I often have to talk it through with trusted friends who will help me challenge my thinking rather than agree with me and go, oh, Sally, that's terrible. Oh, that's awful. That's unhelpful for me because then I just end up in the pit of doom. I need people to go, Sally, have you thought about this? Oh, that's interesting. I don't see it this way. I kind of see it like this. And I love the fact that they come with a perspective I hadn't considered, because that shines the light into the situation and helps me to understand. So there are 5 things that I consider when I'm out of alignment. And I know when I'm out of alignment, I'm getting cross, I'm getting triggered, I'm unhappy, things aren't right, feel failure, whatever it might be. It's like, that's not who I am. Pause. So the first one I do is my emotions are a signal that something is out of alignment. They're not true. They're a signal. It's like a signpost. So if I'm angry, frustrated, feeling shame, guilt, anxious, or stressed, whatever it might be, then these emotions are warning me that something's out of alignment. So that's the first thing, being aware. The second is to press the pause button. Off, literally, press the pause button. For me, it's I need to stop. I need to get myself out of the situation so that I can get myself into a clear space, into somewhere calm, into somewhere where I can think. I often go to Psalm 23, but somewhere where I can just get my headspace back, because all of those unhelpful emotions will cloud my judgment. They will stop me seeing what's real. So I need to get into a space out of the other stuff that's going on, get myself calm and quiet again. And then I need to write it down or speak to a trusted friend, someone who is looking to discuss the options and help me find a solution that brings connection rather than disconnection. I love the people that I have in my inner circle. Most of us should have 3 if we're lucky, where I can go to my husband and say, oh, this is doing my head in. And he goes, oh, yeah. Have you thought about this? Have you asked them this? Have you considered that? And it's not, there's no judgment, there's no condemnation. I'm not right and they're bad or good or bad or any of that. It's all around, okay, this person's coming from this perspective, you're coming from this perspective. Instead of doing this and being at loggerheads and arguing, we just need one to come with love so the other can join in love too. It is, honestly, and so it's about love, it's about connection, it's about coming together as one. So I will discuss it, I will write it down, I'll journal about it so that I can find the solutions. I'll ask the Holy Spirit, come on, Holy Spirit, help me out here, what am I not seeing? And then I find a place and a time where the other person and myself are relaxed to then share my feelings from how I perceive things. So from a me perspective, not a you perspective. Hey, the other day when I was really stroppy, the trigger was, so when you do this, this is how it makes me feel. Now, just because he does that doesn't mean my feelings are not, say, Kev's problem or somebody else's problem. It's a me problem because it's my feelings and I need to own them. But it's helpful to go, when this happens, this is how I feel. And then the 5th part is to be prepared. So that's what I've just done. Be prepared to share openly. And then to listen and hear the other person's perspective to gain understanding. Not to give an answer, not to be right, but to understand. And honestly, the amount of times I'll go, oh my goodness, I hadn't seen it that way. Oh my goodness, that makes so much sense. Oh my goodness, now I get it. And the moment that I understand, the moment that I get it, all my anger, all my frustration, whatever it is, disappears. And it's been a massive key for me, gaining wisdom, insight, and understanding. Because when I gain that, it helps me that disappears. And then it's like the floodgates open and I can instantly tap into my empathy and compassion, which allows me to connect at a much deeper level. It's just next level for me. So this all comes when I take responsibility for my emotions, rather than pointing the finger at others, expecting them to solve my problems. If I've got a problem, it's me. It's not the person opposite me. It's not the person who's triggered something in me. They're actually the blessing, because without them, I wouldn't be able to deal with whatever the ugly thing is that I need to get rid of that's not mine. Life is such a joy when we put the keys to happiness back in our own hands, not leaving them to someone else and putting them in someone else's pocket. When we become good stewards of our own happiness, not to mention the joy that we bring to those around us, our whole worlds change, because we're not expecting someone else to be the answer. The answer's in us already. So I encourage you, think about those 5 things. Think about what it is that really brings you joy. And if there are things that are bringing you sadness, what's the opposite? What's the root? Pull it out, get rid of it, and replace it with something good. So have an amazingly blessed week this week. Enjoy your time processing and adding more keys to your keychain to unlock your heart. Because actually what happens is we get stuck in old ways of thinking. We get stuck in bitterness but this didn't happen and that didn't happen the way I expected. And we're the ones that get trapped. We're the ones that get locked in that paddock. We put a fence up and we push the people that we love away. So I really encourage you to write down the things that have been unhelpful and find what is helpful. To just shift the focus from fixing the old to actually bringing in the new, the joy, the peace, the love. Come from that space every time that you are amazing. You're uniquely designed to be brilliant. And you are loved, you are chosen, you're wonderful. You've been created in God's image. Holy moly, it doesn't get much better than that. So start claiming that. Start claiming who you are, who you really are, and not what some of the voices in your head will tell you, because they're liars, just quietly, sometimes unhelpful, keeping you trapped. So I encourage you. Healthy relational intelligence will start with you. So get onto it. You've got 5 keys there to help you unlock the love, the joy, the peace, the fun, the energy in life rather than the other stuff. Have an amazing, God-blessed week.